You know, here we go.
Is this us going?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is us running.
This is our not a test. This is not a test of your emergency
Welcome
broadcast
back,
system.
YouTubers.
Yeah. So, how many of you think we suck already?
I'll raise my
Well,
hand.
like I care about opinions.
Well, I care about some opinions, as long as they're well founded. I know that we don't do great shows, and we're an audio
We're
show.
mediocre and bland because that's what the internet demands everything to be now.
Well, I'd say if you want to check out our earlier shows when we were full of life and had a whole bunch of new shit to talk about instead of this being our 4th or 5th year running and trying to think of new stuff to do. But,
No, it's not only that.
the
It's
sites
What, are
make
you
us-
saying you're getting tired of doing the show?
to drill
I think
down.
we would have more stuff to do, and it would be fresher each episode if we did them every other week instead of every week. But
Well-
that's something to discuss later.
Also, gosh dang it, see, I knew that's what was going to happen.
He's lost too much weight and his wedding band's getting too
It
big.
fell off at Walmart the other day while I was in line
Ugh.
putting groceries on it, and it was like on the conveyor belt, so I was scrambling to grab it. That way it didn't.
But no, I was
get
just
lost.
making a complaint about the sites that have had our first and original episodes being
Now
either
they're all
closed
gone.
down, or you can only
Well,
post so many after
all
remove
that
the
it
older
has to do
ones.
is because the internet's becoming suckier and suckier.
So if you're interested in listening to some of our first original early episodes, just contact us on our YouTube
Copyright
site,
pending.
and we'll send you copies for free.
Copyright pending.
If we get popular, though, you know, it won't be free. So, like the first 100, well, 50 to 100 are free, but after that, when we're officially popular, then you'll have to pay. So,
Copyright pending.
get on that ball.
But no, I think the reason they even flagged is because I programmed our YouTube page to not play commercials.
Well, you do have it marked as adult
Oh,
content and
yes.
all of that, right? Because,
No,
some of the
it's
stuff we
not
talk
an
about-
thing. If you don't let it play commercials, it probably flags it.
and don't
I
worry,
think it does.
I tend to flag Tom's hate speech, so you guys don't need to.
Where's your flag?
Hey, people just get pissed off because I tell them what they already know.
Some people. Other people are just too ignorant, or some of the, I don't know, some of the stuff you spew out sometimes is just out there from, you know, third field, like,
I
where
think
the hell did that
All
come
of
from,
us
Tom?
have those sometimes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
That's
reminds
why
me
we,
of when
try
I
to
was in
balance each
Nam.
other. No.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had a friend who kept yelling about Charlie that wasn't there, and
Yeah, I remember when I was a 50-year-old black man in Nam. They said we had poor night vision.
hey, wait, you were in my platoon, weren't you?
No, I wasn't.
What was
The
it,
one that was always off on their
No,
own.
Operation-
everyone in my platoon was
Operation
killed,
Dark
and I was
Shield.
the last one left. Is that what we saw?
Oh, speaking of that,
Huh.
what was that we were watching the other day? But they were discussing it, and I was watching.
What?
It was had to do with genetic manipulation.
Was
And
this
we
a-
were
A
discussing how.
movie or a documentary?
Well, it was a documentary while you were sleeping, like a
How
week
would I
ago.
remember if I was sleeping?
No, I was saying we were discussing the same thing prior to
Okay.
me watching it. How
Gattaca.
if society starts doing that, you know what they're gonna try doing? Blonde-haired, blue-eyed people.
Well, they'll start doing what they did in Gattaca, where you have to have the right DNA profile to get a job. You have to have the right DNA profile to get
No,
into
I
a
know, but
certain
they're discussing
neighborhood.
that already. That they want to start making people blonde hair, blue eyes, because that's the thing in demand.
I agree with the blue eyes, but I don't necessarily think you need to go blonde hair.
Which I think is totally racist
No, I.
against.
I
us,
just don't like
against
blonde
us
women.
gingers. You know.
Or brunettes. Everyone here has blue eyes, so we don't give a fuck about that one.
Yes, blue eyes is just one
Well,
of those things.
I mean, hazel's alright, green's alright, blue's alright.
I'd say if you're gonna make it anything, it should be blonde hair, green eyes.
Yeah, blonde hair, green eyes works better. But brown eyes
With,
are
with
okay.
with that ever so slight Asian colored skin.
Man, that one black dude on the
That way it
Hello.
doesn't look totally freaky.
That black dude had natural blue eyes. They weren't contacts.
Oh, like that one lady that has the
awesome. Just
has
like
that really overly blue
icy
eyes.
blue eyes with the red hair. Yeah, that chick. But no, his blue eyes were like ours, not really icy blue, just normal. But with him being black, they really stood out. I mean,
I think that's the only reason why that lady got the acting career.
her
eyes.
Because her eyes being so, yeah, she played evil in Masters
Her eyes
of the
were
Universe.
always what
She was
gave her
in
those roles. She played
the stuff. She's been in a lot of Twilight Zone stuff too, but yeah, her eyes are freaky natural though. But well, it's like Asian chicks with green eyes and blue eyes. You know, it's just brown's cool enough, I guess, but it doesn't make the eyes pop. The only time I've ever seen brown eyes pop is when they were so dark brown it made the whole eye look black except for the whites of the
I've
eye.
seen some brown eyes pop. There's guys that
That guy that has the bug eyes, yeah.
Can ever so slightly make them pop out.
Not that I'm trying to be discriminatory against people with brown eyes, but I've never met a brown-eyed person whose eyes just really say. The only person I can think of with brown eyes in Hollywood that eyes really pop is Will Smith. But that's the Asian in him.
Are you sure he's Asian? I don't think he's Asian.
He's quarter Asian.
Oh,
No, he's
dude.
not.
I thought he was.
No.
I got to see the Men in Black 3 trailer in 3D.
Yeah, I can't
It-
wait for that to come out.
it
Hey, you
looks
gotta
awesome.
get me the Men in Black cartoon series, damn it.
And
I'm trying to find it on eBay, but
It's one of those hard to find
well,
ones.
no, and then they want like $80 for it because it never was really released, officially.
Why do that with the show?
Well, it was like that movie Split Second that I watched.
Yeah.
It was only VHS released in America, DVD released in the UK. So the only way you could buy it on DVD
Was order it in the UK.
order it from the UK, and it would have cost me like $90 to $100, and I was like, screw that.
that's
Plus
what
shipping.
happened with me with the Jerky Boys movie. I think it's stupid to charge that much for a movie. It's like, really?
Well, the thing is, it's not movie industry either. It's some personal person that has it.
Which
Charging
should
that
technically
outrageous
be
amount.
illegal.
It is.
What if it was never released on DVD?
If it was released in DVD from a different country.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, on with the show. First Mariner Arena Jump Contest.
Might want to turn it up.
Oh, here, I'll give you the
Ninja Turtles.
You did a pretty good job on that truck.
Until it crashes it, it's all over.
Really? I mean, well, it's probably got a plastic frame that you can manufacture.
Ooh.
He even has the, yeah, he didn't get much speed on that at all.
Wow.
He wanted a baby. and
That's
you could
all
tell
flash, but no.
He didn't want to wreck it. It was all for show. He didn't want to actually use the muscle in that truck.
Hey, I will have you know, though, that the remote-controlled car kicks ass. I terrorize my cats with that on a daily basis.
Oh, cats love remote control, mind you. Yes, back in the day when I was trying to find things for Ron to have a hobby or collect, I would get him remote control cars.
I have it here somewhere.
You got a couple here somewhere. Alright, Ron's looking for which clip. Oh, there's not that many, just pick one. Young Turks.
Document from the Department of Homeland Security reveals that the government is now testing something known as future attribute screening technology. And what that is it's basically a piece of technology that would monitor every single aspect of your body to decide whether or not you could possibly commit a crime in the future. So this is straight out of the Minority Report, okay?
Yeah. Thank God, though, because We didn't have enough of a police state. Best to try to figure out crimes before they happen and punish people for it. Now, a couple of things. They claim that there are no plans for acquiring or deploying this type of technology at this time. Half of that is a clear lie. They have already acquired the technology. What do you mean you don't have a plan to acquire the technology? That's what this whole report's about, right? And the second thing is, we're not deploying it. By the way, they are. They're deploying it on a voluntary basis, which we'll explain in a second. But they're not deploying it on all of us yet at this time. Are they not merciful?
Right.
Okay? And this sounds like something that can't happen. But it can. It's incredibly real. And let's explain to you how it works.
Okay, so it is incredibly real, and they already have the technology in place. As Jake mentioned, they're already testing it on voluntary members of the Department of Homeland Security. Okay, so that's what they're using it for. And also, FAST, that's the short name for it, FAST has the ability to collect, process, or retain information on members of the public, right? Retain information. The sensors will not intrusively collect video images, audio recordings, and psychological measurements from the employees. And that is a direct statement from an employee named Robert Middleton from the Department of Homeland Security.
So understand what's happening. FAST stands for Future Attribute Screening Technology. Future attributes. Not the attributes you have now. The attributes you're going to have and will be punished for later. They're doing a test program with DHS employees, Department of Homeland Security. And he's saying that they're going to do non-intrusive video images, audio. How do you do non-intrusive video images of the guy's life and audio recordings of their life? And then they say it's okay because we will not identify any of these guys. Well, if you do a video recording of my life, you pretty much know who it is. You're not going to mistake it for Anna's life.
Right, look,
okay.
We know what the truth is.
Identify
The
the
Department of
public.
Homeland Security is doing whatever they can to make it seem as though this is not intrusive, this is not something that will invade our privacy. They're trying to calm us down while, you know, they take our civil liberties away from us before we even realize it, right? But here's some more information on it. It will monitor, among other things, body movements, voice pitch changes. It'll also look at eye movements, body heat changes, and breathing patterns. And they're going to use all this information to try to predict whether or not you're going to commit a crime in the future. Okay?
So watch out how you move your eyes, and if you're breathing too hard, it might cause you a problem. Look, we're not kidding around.
It's
okay?
a form of a new age polygraph.
Based on my
they said,
historic
don't worry.
profile and my
In the middle of the
family
article,
lineage,
they said that they will not attribute this to
I
even
should
within
be
the
either a lot
volunteers
worse
to
or
any
a lot
specific
better than
person.
I am.
They're just
No,
doing
you'll
tests
see.
to see
Yeah,
how it goes
it
generally.
might depend on
And I
the
thought as I was reading
situations
it,
I run
my
into.
ass, you're not going to collect and store that information. And at the end of the article, there's an update, and this is, by the way, from CNET. You can read it yourself. The article is, the DHS Privacy Office has said that the system does contain personally identifiable information, and that they have put in place a system that, quote, collects, uses, disseminates, or maintains that personally identifiable information. Of course they store it. How are you going to do a test if you don't store the information? Of course they know whose it is. They have a program that identifies whose it is. They say, don't worry. Later, after we're done with it, we'll properly dispose of that information and won't use it.
I'm sure they will.
Oh, I'm sure. And then this is all voluntary, except the people that work in the Department of Homeland Security. They go up to you and you're at the lower levels. They're like, hey, you want to participate in this program? Oh,
yeah,
you don't? Why? You
they
have
say
something to
it's
hide?
voluntary.
That's true.
It's
Right?
not
How
really
voluntary is that? And
voluntary.
you think, oh, that's bad.
They don't
Wait till you
really
get all
have
of
a
this.
choice. If they're
Chock
asked
full of
to do
stuff
it,
in
they have
there's
to,
several
pretty
different articles
much.
we read on this. They give you a sense of how scary this is. They say that a field test of this FAST program has already been conducted in at least one undisclosed location in the Northeast. So what happened? I thought it was only a voluntary program. That doesn't sound voluntary. They already did it in a place where people, they did it to people that were apparently walking to a large event or whatever it was, right? So, look, I get the people who are in favor of it. Their argument is going to be, look, do you want somebody with a bomb walking into a football stadium or an airport?
Yeah, that's their reasoning for everything. That's their reasoning for taking all of our civil liberties away. I'm
Josh,
not
he's gonna
buying
call
it,
back,
okay? They
both of
fearmonger,
us
they
tomorrow.
use fear as a way to sell this bullshit. This is thought police. This is out of 1984. You can't think a certain way.
It is
If you
out
think
of
a certain way, they're going to
1984.
predict that you might
And a
do a
lot of
crime
other
in the
movies.
future. It's unbearable. We got to stop this kind of stuff.
No, I totally and utterly agree with you. And for the people who are concerned, hey, what about the terrorists, et cetera, et cetera.
Terrorists.
Look, there's always mission creep. You know it in every program we've ever done. And it first starts as we're trying to find terrorists. Then it goes to, well, we're trying to find all criminals, right? Well, do you want a drug gang member going into your neighborhood? Then it goes to,
It's the whole to be completely protected, you have to lose all of your security.
And then that guy did this, and that guy did that. Next thing you know, and it's spreading. And it's already spreading. We already know that the programs they have.
We have to take rights away so you can be free.
Well, you can't have rights if you want to.
So it spreads and it spreads until we become 1984, and even our breath is tested and monitored, and our eye movements, etc. And if you get a little too nervous on any given day going into any given mall, well, the future attribute program believes that you might do something wrong in the future. This is a
24/7. But as an adult, you gain liberties and freedoms.
But you really don't.
Well, you're supposed to. You know, the government is treating the people like a bunch of little kids. It's like telling someone my age, someone over the age of 24 even, don't talk to strangers, don't get into a stranger's car, don't blah blah blah. Duh, you already know that shit.
No, it's just a new thing for them to be able to use as a form of a policing technique without having.
Right.
Well, it's
cost.
punishing people before they even do it. And if you haven't done it, then there's been no crime done.
The government saying that they're doing all of this to stop terrorists is the same thing as telling, an adult not to do things that you would tell a little kid not to do. We know how to prevent it. We can prevent it. We don't need the government taking away our liberties to prevent it. All we have to be is more conscious of what's going on around us.
I think it's funny that
like fucking
over the past
air
100
traffic
years.
control on 9/11. Where was air traffic control on 9/11?
Well, no. Over the past 100 years, we haven't had but what, a couple of incidents with terrorism.
And they were all considered to be, what's the phrase the military uses it? When you purposely send
False flags?
false flag. Thank you.
Well, the thing is you don't see the violence like in other countries, third world countries here.
Fuck.
So there's no,
in England,
if
right?
the problem, like you were saying
They
earlier
don't-
with video games, if the problem wasn't there, why do we need to fix it whenever there wasn't a problem? The problem is the day that 9/11 happened, conveniently our military was nowhere to be found,
At ease,
which is
basically.
like
Stand down. They
like
were
a
told to
person
stand
taking
down.
a person taking a Valium and saying, well, my windows are open, my front door is open, I'm going to take a couple of Valium, I'm going to sleep for about 12 hours. If someone comes in, oh well.
As I like to put it, the government pulled a Jean-Benet Ramsey parents. They allowed someone into their house on purpose and ignored what was going on
Just to enforce
intentionally,
new security
just
measures.
so the people surrounding them would have a certain reaction.
Yep.
And, it's all bogus. It's all false flag, Every time a false flag event happens, the military, the government, they all seize more of our civil liberties and our freedoms. And people are aware of it at this point. So they're not even bothering to ask the people anymore. They're just saying, what are you going to do?
One, amending our Constitution more and more
If you don't like it,
without the vote of the
you're
people.
not a patriot. If you don't like it, you're a terrorist. If you're a terrorist, you have no rights anyway, so fuck you.
Sad but true.
Neither President Bush nor President Obama punished the... Damn it, it's going by too
It's
fast.
going really fast.
That's the Chernobyl video.
Even the rich MBAs.
Another toxin movie.
the Olsen twins.
That's right. Daddy, boy, those ugly, scary girls.
Why? You know why they make movies like that? It's people like you who watch them.
No.
Hey, I will have you know that Toxic Avenger Part 4, if you watch the R-rated version that is toned down, it is watchable.
I don't know. You say that about a lot of these movies that I go to watch, and I'm sitting there watching them going, oh, Tom, really? Toxie's one of them. I just know. The first one wasn't even watchable, and it was the best one.
Wait, you want to know why they make those type of movies?
Because it's free money to them. It costs nothing to make, and people buy them anyway.
Not only that I think they have so many movies that they have to put out a year. And
Contractually obligated.
yeah, and
Probably.
they say like, okay, throw this one out.
Like Ed Wood movies. Yeah.
Because Hollywood's overflooded with actors, directors, different producers, so they got to do something.
But I will have you
We're not doing any
know,
more indie films.
Whether it be, filming a piece of poop flushing down the toilet or some toxic
They do it.
thing coming out of the sewers.
well, just so we all realize that the Toxic Avenger still is not the worst thing to come out of Jersey.
Oh no. Snooki is.
That actually has more class
Then what?
than Jersey Shore.
Oh yeah.
No.
But you're
I don't
talking
know
about the difference
that.
between a
That's
movie and a
borderline.
TV
I'd
series.
almost say it's par for the course.
Because at least with that, they're doing it as parody and not to be emulated.
Yeah.
Jersey Shore, they want people to act that
No,
fucking dumb.
it's Jersey
That's-
Shore is the new age
Reality TV.
Jerry Springer Murray
Yeah.
thing. That's all it is. And
It's-
that's what Toxic Avenger
Yeah,
was.
Toxic Adventure was
It's movie style,
satire.
satire, parody.
I mean, they're two totally different. One's TV, one's
Well, that's why I'm
movies.
saying par for their course.
One's, I want to say fantasy, the other is reality TV.
And another thing in Jersey, I'll back him, but he's still a Jew. Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
He's a complete and total no shame sellout, but I do like a lot of his shit.
Well, yeah.
Not that many of them. His stuff from his early days.
Well,
and that's very few. of them
Not the
at that
early
point.
Well,
days,
like
but the middle early days.
Clerks was awesome.
Anything after?
Mallrats.
Oh, excuse me.
It was about the time when he was doing like Jersey Girl and Chasing Amy that I'm like,
That was
And-
before Clerks.
no, it wasn't.
Oh, I thought it was.
Clerks came first.
Oh.
Well, like I said, he's had hit and misses.
Yeah.
He's the new age Ed Wood.
No, he does better than Ed Wood. Ed Wood never had any big hits.
Well, with his last movie though, because that one
Not
was
one.
awful. Did you guys watch Red State?
No. I couldn't bear enough enthusiasm for another Kevin Smith movie.
Well, this is something he's never done before, and you could tell. He should not do horror movies.
No, he should do comedy. That's about what he tries to do political, and I guess if he throws comedy in with politics, that's okay. But he should stick with what he.
Now,
His problem is he wants to hire people that he can get for cheap, like friends, and that's his problem.
Yeah,
Is-
he's.
that's why he recycles people over
because he
and
uses,
over
he
and
abuses.
over.
I
Old
think he
favors,
abuses
yeah.
his friendships
He does.
too much. That
How
you
many
know,
times has he told Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't be famous?
Well, how many times has he told that to Jason Mewes?
Yeah.
Because he had to even fight to get him on Mallrats.
But the thing is, He didn't make them famous. He gave them the opportunity to show their ability, and they made themselves
You
famous.
see, what it was chemistry of all of them together.
Yeah. Well, no, it was them having the opportunity to
Them
show.
working together as a whole.
No,
But I think if
they're
you
all individually talented.
Oh,
But
yeah, they are.
together, it's like saying people from Saturday Night Live would have never got famous if they hadn't all worked together.
Tom,
They were all
just
individually
because
good.
you have a movie with a whole bunch of famous people,
It's
or
just they
good
need
people,
that
doesn't mean
opportunity
it's
to
gonna be a good
show
movie.
that.
Prime example, Expendables.
Yeah.
By the way, they're working on
Yeah,
number
I know.
2.
They're making a number 2,
Did
which
you know-
is gonna be a number 2.
It's going to be PG-13.
Oh God.
So, it's going to star Jackie Chan now. It's like if it's PG.
Well, Jackie Chan's getting up there in age to where he's gonna
He
start
can't
doing
do
Dude,
that.
no, he's
retarded
getting
stuff.
exactly. He's getting up there in age. Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
they're
he's
getting up
gone
in
to
age.
retirement club movies.
Yeah.
Oh God, they're gonna make a movie of them being these
John
geriatric
Travolta,
fucks and
Robert De Niro, they're all doing these old art movies.
at least Danny DeVito though, he's like out there
Yeah.
doing decent shit.
It's like, screw you, I'm short.
Yeah,
I'll
like
always be
Same
young.
Time in Philadelphia, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's actually pretty good. I
heard
sat
that.
down and
I heard
watched
it. Was
it.
pretty good.
I'm a fan. I do have to admit.
All right.
Homeland Security fast screening.
Under the Future Attribute Screening Technologies,
Just
or
the-
FAST program, the Department of Homeland Security is developing...
That way, no one can say the internet doesn't spew a bunch of lies and falsehoods.
Yeah, this is an actual
This is
Homeland
directly
Security
from
video.
Homeland Security. Well, from YouTube from Homeland Security.
innovative physiological and behavioral screening technologies to streamline the screening process at security checkpoints. In support of this program, Battelle has partnered with industry leaders Farber Specialty Vehicles and
Yes, it's
Draper
called
Laboratories to
sponsors.
design and develop a portable research facility for the development
I'm surprised I
and
don't see
demonstration of innovative
Walgreens and
security screening
Walmart
technology.
attached to
Well, the
that.
scary thing is
Demonstration laboratory.
Financed by private corporations, and when private corporations finance a military product, it means that private corporations have access to it. Private corporations aren't going to use it the same way military, will.
This is not military. DSHS isn't military.
No, I know. They're all privatized, which makes it even worse because corporations can do whatever they want. They're adherent to no laws, no government. They're self-reliable industries, and when they go to court, they can also claim that they're, what is it? Individual rights as a corporation.
I know,
They're
but
grasshoppers.
This whole thing
No.
right here.
We're
They're
ants, they're
locusts.
grasshoppers.
They're
This-
locusts.
I know, but this whole thing right here proves exactly what the Young Turks were saying is true, is the fact that it's not going to be set up for just airports and main security places.
Yeah,
That it's
it's-
a mobile unit. It can go anywhere.
Yeah, for workplaces.
Anywhere. It can be at your local grocery store.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
You can't shop here,
Facility
you
of the
might commit a
FAST
crime
demonstration
inside the building.
laboratory allows security officials to quickly and efficiently establish security boundaries at any location, making it useful for everything from large sporting events, border crossings, or airports. The screening mobile module provides a checkpoint to establish or supplement security facilities at points of entry. At special events, attendees pass through the screening mobile module. The unique low-floor trailer design ensures accessibility for all. Inside the screening mobile module, a suite of real-time, non-invasive sensors measure behavioral and physiological indications of malnutrition.
And another thing with this.
Next thing you have to give a blood test.
No. They actually demonstrate it. Does not look like they're showing in this promo video. There's actually more things that they have to do, but you'll see.
Intent, or the intent or desire to cause harm.
And that's basically
As
electronic
sensor technology
lie detector
evolves,
test.
the
That's all it
screening
is.
mobile module can be easily reconfigured with movable partition walls. The screening mobile module can be configured to support primary screening, secondary screening,
Private screening.
observation areas, or
Oh,
multiple
hold for
screening lanes
observation.
for higher subject throughput. Anchor track on the walls,
So in other words, they're
ceiling,
pretty
and
much
floors
treating it like a
provide
sound
secure
test,
and easily
or a
reconfigurable
hearing
means
test,
of
or
No,
installing
no.
equipment
You can do a
throughout the
whole bunch of
screening unit.
screenings at the same time, or you can do more thorough screenings with the box and make it stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 for holding suspects. Further observation.
Well, this is just one attribute of the thing.
New screening sensors can be easily integrated into the screening mobile module.
Technology increasing, you could just keep
The
adding
command
to
unit
it.
provides local supervision and management of screening operations during a security event. Multiple screening units can be wirelessly networked to a single command
You can now
module,
abduct as many
minimizing the
people as you
resources
want.
needed to manage large events and providing a cost-effective means of providing on-site security operations at a large event.
No, it's
Climate
not
control
exactly
data
for abducting
processing
people,
areas
it's
in both mobile
basically-
modules provide ample space for on-site data processing
It's a
and
screening
analysis equipment.
process.
The
You know,
mobile
who's
modules are
worthy,
secured
who's
by
okay,
a
who
security
has clearance,
system
who
that
doesn't,
protects the
who's
equipment and sensor
threat,
data during operation and storage.
and
In the event an intrusion is detected,
matter
a
who they
local
let out
audible
or
alarm
who
is
gets
triggered
through,
and a
all the
monitoring station
information
is
is
notified
permanently
via
stored for
cellular
future
network.
referral. All of
The
it.
FAST demonstration laboratory is working towards providing an operationally ready security checkpoint.
The way
The
they have
current
it
mobile
set up is
modules provide a
you could
useful
run into
test
one
bed for
anywhere.
developing innovative
And
screening
if you don't go
technologies.
through it, they're going to hold you anyway.
What I wonder though is how many people who have abnormal, body things.
Me. I can't go through a lie detector test because the way my body responds to things, everything I say, even if it's the truth, would come out as a lie. My body incorrectly responds to my intentions, and I get false positives all the time. And people can't predict my behavior because of the way my body reacts, because of my heart
Well, you see.
and all of that other stuff.
Let's see how it works.
Prints on that map. What
Plus,
I'm
if you
gonna
look
have
at
you
my
do is can you
history,
put your first
that wouldn't work either because I don't behave the way society claims I should according to my history.
Yeah.
step forward and stand on those footprints on that map. What I'm gonna have you do is can you put your purse in your pocket or just to the side
This
there?
is the actual
I'm
screen.
gonna have you look in my direction. Just keep your hands just kind of to the side and try and refrain from movement. Okay, just try and remain as still as possible and we'll begin soon.
Which is hard. My body starts to tremor. That's purposely told me.
Just show your ID to the first guard. Are you attempting to smuggle an explosive device into the expo today? Are you from the local area? Are you attempting to smuggle a recording device into the expo today?
You see, this is something that's bad though because I would immediately get in trouble right then
Well,
and
it's
there.
interrogation.
Because I'd laugh at the question because something not even related would pop into my head. And, but still it would be ludicrous to be even asked that. It's like,
Well,
who would really...
Yeah, but
First
the
off,
thing is, if you
it's
don't-
highly illegal to do this because they cannot interrogate you without a lawyer present.
It's an interrogation. It is. It's a form of interrogation.
Non-invasive bullcrap. Once they go to a lie detector like that and stuff, all this stuff, it's a form of interrogation.
Yeah.
And it's violating a constitutional right for a lawyer. I would just tell them that I'd like my lawyer present at this meeting. This cannot happen.
Well, you
because
won't
I
be
need a
allowed
lawyer
in
present.
if you don't go through it. That's the
Then
thing.
you sue the Expo, Homeland Security, and everybody else.
Good luck winning, unless you've got $1 billion attorney.
I'm pretty sure an attorney would probably take it. I'm pretty
I'm
sure
pretty
that if
sure
this
an attorney
when
would be
this
too
rolls out,
terrified to go up against
when
them.
this rolls out, you're gonna have a lot of people, even the attorney generals, probably.
Well, yeah, it'd have to be a higher up attorney though.
Yeah.
Someone who likes to take big cases. basis.
Have you been in the local area all day today?
Excuse me.
Do you plan to detonate an explosive at the expo today?
Asked the same question 3 times so far.
Do you plan to illegally record any information at the expo
See,
today?
it's not. This is the other thing. It's meant to find terrorists, right?
Right, but the questions he's asking, every other question has to do with copyright infringement.
Yep. So how does that have to do with
Terrorism.
It doesn't. Copyright infringement is not terrorism.
But every other question, do you plan on exploding
So,
a device? No. Copyright question.
At
do you
this
plan on
at this
exploding
point,
a
it's
device?
already showing
Copyright question.
they're already going to use it for something other than
Yeah.
finding
like
terrorists.
concerts, you know, are you going to be recording blood? They're not
Are
worried
you
about
bringing
people
beverages
bringing
in
bombs
here?
in.
I
They
mean-
want to make sure that no one's going to smuggle out.
They're trying to get bootleggers.
Yeah, they're trying.
Well,
to
they're
yeah,
looking for anything. They're going to use
Anything.
it as a tactic to be able to find
anything.
anything illegal or anything that they can find on anybody because, face it, somebody's got to pay for all of this, and if we can find someone to bust for
You know.
even
And
small
when you
petty
say
crimes,
bootlegging, it's not just videos or music. It could be any kind
they
of
can ask you any
contraband.
question, and if they find that you're lying, I mean, all they have to do is say, okay, well, we're going to bust you,
Withhold you for indefinite
withholding
period of
information,
time.
or they'll bust you with a ticket citation that you have to pay a fine for,
Or appear in court
something like that.
if you're
Either
lucky
way.
enough to go to court.
Either way, it's obviously that they're not going to use it for what they
Just
say
for
they're going to use
terrorism.
it for.
Yeah,
Because it's meant for terrorism,
Yeah.
not for copyright
yeah,
infringement.
but
uh,
the thing is, he keeps
small
asking
petty
the same thing
crimes.
about explosions. He doesn't ask any other kind of terrorist question. He asks about an explosive device, then a copyright question. All the copyright questions are different, meant to try and catch you in a trap. But all the explosive terrorist questions, same question
Pretty
repeated
much.
over and over. The obvious question is say no to. So that's not what they're really searching for, because the one that they're supposedly really searching for has an obvious, easy answer. There's no elusive questioning to it, which isn't a real interrogation. The real interrogation is the in-between questions, which all relate to copyright infringement.
Yep. Are you doing snapshots during all of these, or are you?
No, I can do
No,
it
no.
whenever, but you get
Whenever.
the gist of it.
Yeah.
It's one of those that
Oh, we know it's not what they'll use it for
your
whatever. they
dad
want to.
can't say that the internet lies, and most people would say, oh, the internet lies.
Oh,
Where are you
I
getting
don't
your
know where
resources
you
from?
hear
Well,
that.
directly
Yeah.
from the horse's
That's what
mouth
my
at
dad
that
says.
point.
Oh, where are you getting your resources from?
Yep, and then they believe everything they've seen on television,
Yep, which is the actual liar.
which is really funny because what were you always taught as a child?
Don't believe everything you see on TV.
And what are the adults doing?
Believing everything they see on TV.
Well, isn't that the point I made a month or so ago?
It's weird because we're adults, but we're not adults. There's a difference between being an adult and being an
No.
adult.
No, there's a
There's a
difference
difference
between
between
being an
a-
adult and being old.
Yeah, there's a difference between being an adult and a dinosaur.
Yeah, being senior. But my dad's problem was, and he finally stopped arguing it, using the Fox News and blah, blah, blah as his resource when every other media source started poking fun at Fox and how unreliable and how biased they were. And, even Fox itself, in the cartoons my dad watches, started making the pokes at Fox News. And that's when he finally stopped using that as his reference source in arguments to me. Because I was like, at least say C-SPAN.
No, now he
Dad.
just says-
At least say C-SPAN. Say something,
Even CNN,
Well, now
they're
he just
pretty
uses the
ridiculous
excuse
now.
I
that-
told him, though, nothing owned by Rupert Murdoch's going to hold water with me, and that pretty much eliminates 90% of any media he'll find.
I know, but now he's got this little nugget in his mind from the news that everything on the internet's a lie. Don't believe everything. Only crazy people believe.
Everything they...
Well,
I don't believe
yes.
everything I see
I don't
on the
believe
internet.
everything.
You
I see
should
on the internet.
question-
That's why I research.
You should question a lot of shit you see on the internet,
Yeah.
but you need to also do the same with television.
Well, if you see something and you think it might be true and you're interested in
Then
it,
you look into it.
yep.
Souvenez-vous de l'endroit où vous vous sentiez le plus en sécurité,
Maybe
le
we'll
plus
commercial.
confortable, le plus aimé. Cet endroit n'existera plus jamais. Resident Evil 4.
That's a pretty good commercial. Makes you think that, oh, it's gonna be some stupid baby commercial.
Yeah.
You see, I've always loved that about the Resident Evil marketing. They always come out of left field.
My favorite one was when they did that Beauty Aid commercial.
Rejuvenate.
Yeah.
Is it sad that it clicked that quick in my mind?
No, because it's something that you're geeky about. We all have our geeky moment things, you know, that we're experts in. That's pretty fucking awesome. Yeah, save this. Oh, thanks, I guess.
Yes! Is that fucking Chuck Norris?
Yep.
Norris, it says at top. Fuck yeah, I got the bitch. Take her to the castle, rock the joint. Chuck Norris versus. Yeah, keep that.
Oh, dude, awesome.
I want to send that one to Texas. So what's our YouTube site called? Just Two Fatties.
Two Fatties Podcast
On YouTube.
on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, oh, and this one we might have already done.
Okay.
I didn't remember it.
Ben Franklin's okay. Yes.
Let me instruct you how we battle in the city of Philly. You couldn't sell Rick James a bag of crack. You're out of practice. My victory's more certain than death or taxes. Fact is, you're a hack, whack, QVC job. You peddle soap that cleans bird shit from my window. Craft a lyrical coffin and then spit the nails in. Call me Arthur Miller's son, cause it's death of a salesman.
Hi, Billy Mays here with a special TV offer. I've been Chris's bald, fat, bomb, biscotti father. I'll take my awesome auger and sow your Quaker roots. I'll shoot your rhymes now like a regimental redcoat. I'm Lord of the Fish and leader in wholesale. You're just a lumpy bumpkin who invented the mail. Benny's got chitin teeth, but you're in for a shock when I strike you with bolt from my lightning rod cock.
Stop! I protest these intolerable rap intentions. What is he paying for me to whoop your ass? Cause I'm mint, I'm May. I'm an educated gentleman. So join or die, Bill, cause it's all about the Benjamin.
But wait, there's more!
Yeah, I don't see Billy Mays on money. Wait, where's
Anyone out there who can finish this one? Anyone?
Oh no.
I can. You follow me, camera guy? It's about to get serious. You're gonna love my nuts until your butthole goes furious. Your boy George shot down treaties. You couldn't break a piece of balsa. Slash up your face, make a double chin salsa. Your style's so bro, they call you poor Richard. Bad enough, I gotta see you every time I tip a stripper. Rich against the body, bothers just too bad. Cause after this, America's gonna lose her dad. Who won? Who's done?
The one thing I will say,
I hadn't seen that one.
at least
That one
Billy
really-
Mays didn't get like a reality TV show where it was him working with Vince. You know it was destined to go down that road unless there was a tragedy.
It practically was like reality TV. I mean, because they
Mark,
started doing the
let's
deleted
face it.
scenes behind the camera, and that was basically reality TV there.
Well, no, that was just extra shit that was recorded that people were all like, hey, we've, they just posted it on their own shit. And
I know, but he became such a famous salesman that his life was like reality TV.
No, he actually did get a reality TV
Yeah.
series though.
So,
well, it was kind of interesting to see how the whole, pitch works.
I know, but it was reality TV. I mean, a lot of stuff on TV anymore is reality TV.
Yeah.
We're in the age of reality TV.
Yeah, we don't need any more reality because it's all been recorded.
Yeah, I have TV for fantasy. I have my own reality.
It's okay to not like things. It's okay. Don't be a
Save
dick about it.
this.
It's okay
Don't be a
to
dick
not
about
like
it.
things. Don't be a dick about the things you don't like.
I found that little short thing. I was like, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Kind of goes with this next one.
Hi everyone. My name's Dawn Hawkins. I'm the Executive Director of Morality and Media. I direct a number of anti-pornography campaigns, and
Fuck
I
you.
just wanted to
Alright,
share.
before we get going,
Alright, she campaigns for anti-pornography. I don't like her already. I don't believe in child pornography, but if she's gonna cross the line...
No, that wasn't child pornography.
no, she doesn't like any pornography.
Right,
period.
no, I get that, but this is supposed to be specific on child pornography.
Yes, but
But I'm saying if she crosses the line and says that hentai is child porn, that's bullshit, it's anime.
she doesn't know about hentai.
It's funny
Oh,
that
she probably-
you mentioned that.
But
though.
anyways, I think she's either on cocaine or crack.
Yeah, watch her jaw.
Her jaw does this a lot
Yeah.
throughout this whole video.
That's she's tweaking on
Not to
something.
slander
Could
you,
be
lady, but
prescription pills,
get it off the junk.
whatever junk.
Whitney was one of those that
Hey.
learned the hard way.
Doctors hand out junk just like street dealers.
I know, but
With you, my experience from the weekend. I'm kind of emotional about it still, so bear with
Yeah,
me.
because it was so
So
horrible.
I was heading to Texas from DC. I was asked to speak at a conference about the links between pornography and sex trafficking. And I boarded my flight in Baltimore at 6 a.m. on Friday, only to find that the man sitting in front of me was looking at pornography on his iPad, of all people to be sitting in front of. He was right in front of me.
So you just
Pause,
had to go
please.
Speechless, I was stunned. I didn't know what to say.
did
I have
grab
to
the
You
baby.
don't
ask
have to
one
say
thing.
anything. He's doing something privately. You shouldn't pay attention to what he's doing privately.
One thing that bothers me with this,
He's
with how you have to hold the fucking iPad, she wouldn't have been able to see it unless she was already going like this.
Doing, yeah. Well, the point is that people are allowed to do whatever they want to do on their computer, and if you see someone doing something on a computer that you don't personally agree with, unless it's illegal, you don't have the right to say shit. And if you start,
what?
I do think it's odd
guy
that he
should
was
go
looking at
off on
pornography
her.
while on.
yeah,
If
plane,
you went to the
but-
bathroom.
who knows? Maybe he works in pornography.
Yeah, maybe
he's
that's
looking
his
for a
job.
model, you know. Maybe
He's a producer.
Maybe he works in a porn shop.
Maybe
and
that's what he
just
was
reading
doing.
Videos that he had to order. Who fucking knows? As long as he wasn't sitting there jacking off, who cares? You know, if I were the guy and she said shit to me in a negative way, I'd just go off on her.
Look,
Not believe. He was looking at pornography right there on the airplane at 6 a.m. in the morning.
6 a.m. everyone's sleeping.
So I sat back
What else is there to do on a
for
plane?
enough time for him to flip through about 8 images. They were all of very, very young girls. I couldn't tell if they were 14 or 18. They were definitely young, and they were all Asian. And a couple of the photographs were very violent in nature. One of them even had one girl whipping the other girl.
Okay,
with-
pause.
That's not very violent.
That there is Asian porn. They look young because they're fucking Asian,
They're tiny.
and
They have no boobs. You know, and
the
their
Japanese
poses
people
you
do
don't
damn near
see.
anything. So
I mean,
seeing
unless you're watching a video clip
whips
and
with them.
seeing the whipping happening, photos are so staged, especially good photographers, you know. Those fucking models can stand there for hours in the same pose and it looked like an action scene, but they're fucking cramping up because they haven't moved in forever.
Yep.
as soon as I gathered myself, I couldn't help it. I definitely said something. Somewhat
bitch
loudly,
slapper.
I asked him if he was really looking at pornography at that time. I said, you know, is that really pornography? Are you looking at pornography right now on this airplane?
What
Are
else is
those
there to
girls
do?
even 18? Is that child pornography? I was making a fairly big deal about it, and everyone seemed to be looking at us.
No,
The
looking
guy
at
said,
you.
They
You
were
know what you're
probably
talking
pissed
about.
off because it was 6 a.m. and
He
you
was still
fucking
holding
woke
the
him up.
iPad right in front of him, and I said,
Well, yeah.
I do. I can see your screen right now. You're looking at porn. And I turned around. There was a flight attendant right behind me, a male flight attendant, and I said to him, "Sir, this man is looking at pornography. Will you please do something about
It's
it?"
a free country.
The flight attendant just stood there. He did nothing.
Of course. What's
He said
supposed to
there
do?
was nothing that he could do. He could have just asked the man to put it away and to not look
There's
at it.
no flight policy saying he
I
has
was
to
I
ask
was
the guy
astounded.
to
I
do
couldn't
it.
believe that he refused to do anything, especially because it was making me and other passengers so
What if
uncomfortable.
she
And I'm
was
sure that
reading
it
a
was making
feminist book that offended
the
me?
other passengers uncomfortable as well. Anyway, the guy put it away. I was sitting there shaking. I was so upset.
Probably why
A few minutes later, I leaned forward and in a much quieter
Can't take
voice,
it.
directed just at the man, I said to him, "Sir, I'm heading right now to speak at a conference about pornography and sex trafficking. You're contributing to the problem. You're exploiting millions of women and children. You're creating the demand. You're the one
sitting next to one of those.
contributing to all of this harm." And right then, a woman who was 2 rows up from us, she stood up and
I bet
interrupted me.
she's Mormon.
And she faced me and she said, she was probably in her 50s. She said, "Be quiet. No one cares."
Yay! Finally, another chick on the airplane that told her to
It-
shut the fuck up.
My biggest
If I
problem
had
is
been on
I've
that
noticed
plane, I would have gone
a
off
very
on that blonde
big.
chick.
I know, but I've noticed a very big thing.
This
She's
bitch is
religious. Let me
racist
guess,
or
she's
sexist.
religious, right?
Religion,
Catholic.
female,
Yep.
feminists,
Yep.
the trifecta do not like porn, and they like forcing other people to listen to them.
Well,
I've noticed
what's
It's like you said,
irritating.
it goes with that one clip. It's okay to not like things, but
Yeah.
don't be a dick about it.
I could not believe that a woman of all people
Oh fuck
would
you!
stand
You're
up
not a
and tell
woman.
me to
I'm
be quiet.
You know,
She
for
didn't tell
women's
the man
rights,
to
and
stop
I'm not
looking
a
at pornography.
hardcore
She didn't say
feminist, and I believe
anything
in
about that.
pornography.
She just said no one cared that he was looking at pornography, what was likely child pornography, on the airplane, right in front of all of us. She said to just let it go.
It wasn't child
Needless
porn.
to say, I was speechless
She's
for the rest of
claiming
the
it
Nobody
flight.
cared that he was
I,
looking at pornography.
I could barely control myself. I know everyone
It was
looking at me.
Asian porn,
I felt
and
a
it
million
wasn't,
emotions.
you know, and that tells
You
me.
felt like the odd man
Most
out.
of which were just disbelief and extreme sadness and hopelessness in the fight against
I bet
pornography.
other
I couldn't
people
believe that a
cheered when
woman
the
of all
other chick
people,
said that.
an older woman,
Probably.
wasn't on our side. Didn't
An
see
older woman
anything
in her
wrong with
50s
the
who should be
exploitation
of the
and
generation
degradation
family
of
values. How
women
can she like
and
porn?
likely children right then and there.
Because she's not old, she's an adult. Like we were talking
We know
about.
that pornography is so addictive, and that man was likely very addicted.
Oh,
He just likes
oh,
to
no,
have porn
it's
or
not.
that early.
Oh
He
my
couldn't
god,
help it.
porn is not addictive.
I feel really bad for him,
If it was so
Pardon me, guys?
addictive, man, how did the
just
watching
because I understand.
God damn it, man!
Yeah.
Don't you
Okay.
see?
Okay.
Porn is as
Here,
addictive as
pause it.
coke.
I will admit, collecting porn, good porn, is addictive because you like to have a good collection to view whenever you want. But you're not watching it constantly, like needing to get new stuff all the time. Oh my god.
The only people that get addicted to porn are naturally sex addicts, anyways, and that is a psychological problem.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like alcoholism. It's like anything else that's a psychological addiction.
Okay, if anything, prostitution leads to, you know, sex slavery or whatever it is she's going off about, but not pornography. You know.
She classifies prostitution
And
as a form of
Well, she thinks that it's
Pornography.
exploiting women and blah, blah, blah.
Well, the
and it's
thing
like, well,
is-
what about the women who actually enjoy doing that?
The thing is, there's a huge
That wanted to do
difference between pornography and prostitution. Yes, you're having sex for money.
You know what?
But
If she's watched
you usually
hentai
have the
before,
same partner.
I wonder what her comments are on hentai though, because
Oh, she would
it's
probably rate it.
voiceover work. First
Yeah,
off,
English dub, yeah. And in Japan, they don't.
No, because
Show
they're
any of
usually
the
wearing
country.
schoolgirl uniforms, which means that no, those
They're
are not
underaged.
legal.
Yeah, no, I know she would go off on, because I hear a lot of people like her go off on hentai if they know what hentai is, because they swear it encourages child pornography, but it's not true. They're fucking cartoons. Get a reality check. There's a difference.
and they're usually not little girls. They're
Well, and some
kids
of them.
that are in college, universities,
Yeah.
in uniforms.
Well, the
because
thing
a lot
Or
of
young adult.
Well, something I didn't realize until I, had Aoi as a friend in high school and keep corresponding even after high school to this day, that schooling in Japan is very different. They're usually out of what we would consider high school by age 13, 15, because they go to school 6 days a week, more hours a day than we do. Their classes are highly regulated, and when they get to high school
they're
level,
on a path.
they have to be on a specific college path, and they cannot deter from it at all. There's no extracurricular courses. There's no free time. There's no
Well, there's
breezing.
free time, but
No,
it's,
well, after school hours, but there's no breeze classes like senior year in America. You pretty much got all your credits done with, so you're putting about doing,
Doing filler classes
filler-
like pottery.
Nothing like that exists in Japan. By the time they're 18, they're already in college. They're already working on their career.
yeah, but
yeah.
the universities are cheaper there anyway.
Well, schooling's just so much different there, and they have to wear uniforms
All right.
usually.
We can cut her. We've gotten the gist.
But
She annoys me.
I'm sure she annoyed everyone on that plane too.
Hey, the Amazing Atheist actually had a decent video involving her.
He's okay as long as he doesn't go extreme.
Hey everybody, and welcome to
usually
another
does
swiftly
go
tailored
way
episode
too
of Does Not
extreme.
Compute,
I like
the
that
only
he's
web
not
series
talking
that
about
started
religion.
as a warehouse shoe franchise, but then we got confused. I'm your host, this moderately priced Saddleback, and with me as always is my co-host, shaky handycam clips of Top Point. Hello?
Guess what happens next?
Speaking of formats I invented, and that sweater. Today's topic
People
I do
recording
like
themselves.
that show.
Takeover edition, or whatever, God. Hey, check this out.
Nice outfit.
I don't know. I'm not that into it anymore. Hey, not so philosoph-fast. Not so philosoph-fast. Yeah, that's right. Look, guy, I don't want to question the word coining abilities of someone named John Shakespeare, but I'm pretty sure you can't supplant the word philosopher with philosophist just by having a bunch of your friends repeat it over and over as if it weren't total nonsense. New words must make their way through the propish academical institutions. If language played by Beetlejuice/Candyman rules, then my misguided attempt to rename the personal computer would have worked. Pornographer. It's pornographone I keep hearing about. See?
Yeah.
People hate it when
It's
you
a
change the name of
pornographone.
something and almost nothing else.
Especially with Skype.
Trust me.
98% of the people able to see a visible realm. Only 2% of the people able to see what's going on and invisible realm.
Okay, you know what? This actually might be a crazy homeless guy, not a hipster. Easy mistake to make. We'll just run a quick hip check on him. Computer, or Clippy. Actually, is there also an onboard computer? I've never been clear on that. First of all, the video's promoting a band that needs 3 adjectives to describe it. But it's a Christian band, and hipsters are way too cool to hang out with an older dude in a robe, so we'll call that a draw. The band's logo is so complex that a healthy portion of the video is dedicated to explaining it. Check. The guy, just look at this fucking guy.
In the foundation of that circle lies an eternal idea.
So anyway, that's a check. Computer, zoom and don't enhance on his lower lip there.
Yes, perfect. See? A cold sore. The hipster's mating call. Seattle Space Needle in the background. And of course, perhaps most damningly, this 2009 promo is the only video of this band on YouTube. You're not even allowed to hear their music. Good, good. So, he checks out. Although, that's got me thinking. If the main trait of a hipster is an unwillingness to define what they do as hipsterism, then can it truly be said that there is such a thing as hipster music?
Well, I guess I sort of lied when I said it's got that bird.
So,
A one-man Devo band?
There's this. Instead, meet Dan Deacon, the one-man Tim and Eric spin-off with keyboard sounds where the jokes should go. And he's got a Native American sidekick. I believe his name is Combs Crisco. He's got to wear that blindfold at all times to avoid going into a Dan Deacon-induced seizure. You have parents, people. You humans came together in collaborative love, I understand, to bring you into the world.
It's pretty sad if you're trying to do something involving Tim and
I would
Eric,
seriously rather
just,
leave my keys with this guy than with this guy. At least the baby won't swap my Volvo for land in the desert and a fixed gear bike. Yep. Yes. Check. Wow, these are all funnier than the joke titles I came up with. Although, I don't have a problem with experimental music, per se. My own techno-prog outfit, Firewire Fondue, used to get pretty esoteric with it. Arcade style, mustaches, Kickstarter. Or not, this is outrageous. But just to be thorough, let's run a quick hip check on this guy. First off, let's check his view count. Over 10,000 views and plenty of thumbs up. Automatic disqualification. Sorry, Bland Meekin. You're nothing but a husk of how cool you were when I never heard of you. Sell out. Well, that about does it for this week. Anything to add, Clippy? You corporatist son of a bitch? Fair enough. I've been your host, Troy Michael Swain, and this has been Does Not Compute. Allow me to show you out.
Hipsterism is a religion to which you gotta be devout. You must...
Michael Spain. He should be on normal television. He really, really should.
He's talented enough to have his own show.
I mean, if I were an agent, I would scoop him up in a heartbeat. Seriously. He's probably already doing enough shit that he's making money. He's got to be pretty popular. He has Funny or Die and Crack TV, and Those Aren't Muskets, and...
Oh, the reason why Josh called, he just apologized.
About what?
Calvin just fell asleep, so... Yeah, to wait to call.
Oh, that's why I didn't call earlier. No problem. Is he enjoying having a TV?
Probably.
And now, Christopher Walken and Gilbert Gottfried for Bounty.
Yeah, in your home. You're gonna go downstairs, have a nice breakfast.
It's a bright sunny day.
You spill the coffee or salsa.
Yes, salsa with the chunky drippy bits and
You
peppers.
spill it on your trousers. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna ruin your trousers?
No, they're nice trousers. Brooks Brothers, maybe.
Thank you. You need towel, tissue, sponge.
Something super absorbent.
Bounty.
Yes.
I could see Gilbert Gottfried doing that, but not Christopher Walken.
Actually, I could see Christopher Walken doing that. I mean, I'm a huge Christopher Walken fan, and I fell in love with him while he did horror, but then I discovered his true calling really is comedy. Especially when you got someone who's a renowned scary actor doing comedy, it's just 10 times more funny, and he figured that out. And plus the pranks he does on people while he makes movies. It's great. I mean, how many birthday parties does that guy get a year? Mustache
I'm Ellie Kemper. You might know me from my roles on The Office, Bridesmaids, or a sensitivity training video I made once about how not to be an insensitive veterinarian assistant. But here's what you don't know about me.
Yeah.
I'm a lover of mustaches. big, dense, good-looking lip garments and the often discriminated against people who wear them. That's why today I'm asking for your support of the Million Mustache March.
No.
Developed by the American Mustache Institute and a noted tax professor, and endorsed by the leading tax authority in America, H&R Block, the Million Mustache March supports the Stash Act, a plan that would provide mustached Americans with a $250 annual tax deduction to help affordably protect their rugged good looks. Just visit stashact.com to learn how you can make a difference. And for every American who participates, H&R Block, believing that mustached Americans should never settle for less, will make a donation to Millions from One, which provides clean drinking water to those who cannot obtain it themselves.
I like songs about mustaches, but I don't like mustaches and the 6
I liked the mustache joke on C-Lab.
That was a fake mustache. It doesn't count. That reminds me.
I started wondering,
a week ago
is
when
this
I had
honestly
my
the
Xbox
worst
online,
console
one of your
generation
friends
that...
friended me. They only had 5 people in their friend's account, and you were one of them. So I sent a message saying, "Okay, you're friends with Tom, I guess."
Who are they?
Choc, whatever.
Chocolope or something.
No, chocolate.
Chocolate something.
Something.
Fuck, I don't know.
Chocolate something.
They
I
didn't.
don't know who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cool. They don't say anything.
Good. They sent me a hi. Well, they sent me 2 friend requests, and when I didn't respond right away because I was busy playing something, they sent me a text
Saying hi.
saying hi.
Yeah, you'll occasionally get a hello or a hi or what's up. But, you know, nothing like major.
we've seen within years. Now, I started thinking about all these various problems and things that have been happening and all the negativity that's been just pretty much showing up in the world of gaming and in the news. So I decided that I was going to collect together a bunch of things that I thought off the top of my head within the past like 2 days or so. Why I think that things are pretty fucking sucky right now. A watering down of the market with a consistent lack of variety within the genres that are available for most of us players to be able to enjoy. Too many of these fucking companies are focused on the whole entire Me Too aspect of trying to be the next Call of Duty and Gears of War, or whatever game is selling the most at that point in time. First party and third party companies that seemingly are just ignoring the pleas of their fans and anything that they have to say, even though they say that they...
You haven't played enough of those games to know if it's true.
I've played enough of Resident Evil 5 to know it's nothing like what it used to be.
Nothing like what it used to be, but you haven't played the games that he's comparing them to.
I have, and I have been playing them.
Playing something for 20 minutes doesn't count as playing it.
Well,
I've played them longer than 20 minutes.
I think that what he's trying to say is that...
He wants more originality, which I agree, there needs to be more originality.
No, he's saying that instead of coming out with... Gears of War had a storyline, so I don't understand what his complaint about that was.
Yeah,
it went through the whole storyline and that's it. This last one finished the storyline.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. Call of Duty coming out with Call of Duty 1, or whatever the Call of Duties are. A whole bunch of different war games.
And he's not even saying he has a problem with those games.
He's
saying he has a problem with games becoming that way.
Yeah, trying to emulate what they're like.
I don't see how other games are becoming like them. I mean, I don't really see it that way. If he's talking about a real first-person shooter, then he can go back to Nintendo if he really
I can see where
Nintendo.
he thinks like Resident Evil 5 is trying
wasn't
to be, but
a first-person shooter on
really
Nintendo.
like it.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, because if he's saying that if it's that because he doesn't like
well, it's like
the shooting techniques.
What I keep hearing is
like
with Resident Evil 5, people are saying Resident Evil 5 was trying to be too much like Gears of War, Call of Duty, blah blah blah. Then
Well,
originals.
not Call of Duty, but
But-
definitely it had a lot Gears
But
in
the
it.
Well, I'm telling you right now, that
thing
new
is-
Resident Evil game is going to be a lot more like Gears, it looks like to me.
The thing is,
Yes, but it is a side game, and side games are supposed to be, but the actual, like, into-depth storyline shouldn't be.
should be what?
Shouldn't be what?
Up to date with the correct game.
Shouldn't be a different genre all of its own.
It's not a different genre. It's a different game engine.
It becomes an action game
No,
instead of a
Yeah,
survival
that's what I was
game.
trying to just explain to you. It's the same genre.
Gears isn't an action
It's
game,
just
it's
a
an
different
action
game
survival
engine.
game,
They're
it's both.
adapting to the gameplay, the way you can use your controller, because it's better. It is better. Movement's better.
But the Resident
targeting's
Evil
better.
series was supposed to be done as if it were a movie. Everything is positioned just right to where, you do have those moments where you have blind spots. And you know you have to be careful.
They still do that.
It's not done right.
The only difference in the blind spots and the camera angle is what they did back then. It wasn't because that's the way it was supposed to be. It's because that's all they could do. They didn't have the
One
ability
thing I
to
could
do
see is
anything
if
else.
you're talking about if you
so
want it to be
limited
first
in
person
technology.
versus a third
A
person.
third person. That would be the only difference, because the original Resident Evils were third person, and the newer ones they're coming out with have the option to be in first person.
Yeah.
But that's the only difference.
And actually, first person point of view makes you have more blind spots than third person. Like the originals were third person. And I actually think that there are a
They
lot
don't
more
have
blind
as many
spots.
cinema scenes. They don't have as many cinema scenes. But the
Actually,
game,
yeah, they do.
do they?
I think that 4 and 5 had quite a few. The only thing is,
Or did, yeah.
Nintendo originally and PS1, PS2, they didn't give you an option to skip the cinematic.
Yeah, I didn't like
New
that.
versions give you an option to skip ahead if you don't
Yeah.
want to sit through
See,
a whole
what
bunch
I
of
see
cinema.
is them just adapting. People say, oh, it's too different, it's not like the old one, it's not supposed to be that way. But what they fail to understand is it's not whether or not it's supposed to be that way. It was the originals. If they had had the technology then that they have now, they wouldn't have made it that way. They would have made it the way they're
I
making them
think
now.
that the biggest
because
complaint with a lot of these
it's
people that
cooler
have
graphics,
problems, they're
smoother
afraid of
gameplay.
they are afraid of change.
They are.
Essentially, they are afraid of something new
Learning
and
different
exciting.
techniques and getting
And
used to it. 'Cause
then they look at a
once you
different
get
game
used
and
to
try
it,
saying it's because
they're trying to be like
they're trying
that.
to be like
but
this.
that's not what it's like.
No, they're bringing the
game
technology up
engines
to
are changing
date.
over. Yeah, they're getting rid of the dated gaming engines of choppy movement, bad, point of views, to the point where you don't
More
just
realistic.
move forward and your eyes get drugged wherever you go. You can actually turn and do your movementing on your own and look around and stuff like that. And it's becoming either one, too complicated for some people, or they're just not playing
They
enough
don't want
of
realism.
the games to get used to
They
it.
don't want realism in the game.
To discover that it's better. It is better, because when I play something with a modern game engine and then I go back and I play something with an older game engine, I get so fucking frustrated because it's so goddamn hard. It doesn't move the way you want it to. And yeah, I know that's the old style. It used to be. But the people who created that game back then, if they could have used a smoother game engine, they would have. And then there wouldn't have been any complaints that things are supposed to be that way, because things aren't supposed to be any certain way. It's just what they can do with the technology they have at the time.
Yeah, just like the movie
And the
industry.
games out now, people are saying they're copying and they're copying this and that. It's because the best game engines available are going to be repeatedly used for different game genres, because it's the smoothest running, it's the one people prefer the most because you can get more shit done.
Well, they need to work on more engines fresh engine ideas
Yeah.
would be nice.
Well, you wouldn't like it though because you only like the old styles.
The way they used to do
The way
it, not
they
the way
used
they're
to do it.
going to.
So-
But
you know,
the way they're doing it
You'd like
is a
games
lot
that would
different
come out-
than the way they should be doing
what
it.
should they be doing?
They need to mix.
Like, perfect example, Catherine uses an old school
Hubert style.
game engine. Every aspect of that game, whether it be the cinemas in between, the Hubert thing, the way the action it's all old game engine.
Trumped up stuff that they
with better
could have
graphics.
gotten rid of.
And that's you know, you two have the same problem. You only like the older style game engines. You haven't adapted to the new.
If anybody needs
because
to
once
change,
you
it's
start
the old-
playing
these
these
type
new
of
games,
people's
forget about the
mentalities that need to
story,
change.
forget about all that shit. Just get to used to the game engine, and you will.
I've
prefer
played
it.
a decent amount of new games.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
I look at your gaming stuff, Tom. Every one out of every 50 games you play is considered new, and the achievements you have on those new games shows me that you've played them less than the full first chapter or just up to the end of the first chapter. That's not enough to get used to it. It's not. You get to the
But
point
let's
where,
see what this guy can say.
okay, I've had enough of this.
I'll
I'm going
honestly
back to
give a
this
shit about their
now.
opinion. Meanwhile, they can't back it up because obviously all their decisions are proving otherwise. Downloadable content that's being released on the same day that a game is being released, why the fuck would you do something like that? It doesn't make any sense. If a game is coming out that day and you're releasing downloadable content, that means that you purposefully took that content and made it available separately for an extra sum of money just
I
because
agree.
you're greedy.
Metal
That's
Gear
an
does
fucking
that, and I hate that.
Shovelware galore. And I quite literally mean
Or
that.
any Gears of War
Shovelware
does
out
that.
the fucking ass, out the wazoo, out of just about any orifice that you could honestly see
I
shovelware
agree
coming out
entirely
of.
with that.
I mean, how often have you looked on shelves and had to sift through all this crap that essentially is getting the same price tag as a game that had tons of hours and effort put into it and is way better, yet it sits side by side with the same exact price tag? Is that fair? Not really. An increased emphasis on the casual market just because they were capable of making the Wii into like a juggernaut to be dealt with. But here's the thing, okay, no matter what you do with the PlayStation Move, no matter what you do with the Kinect, okay, you aren't going to be able to grab onto the same success that Nintendo did with the Wii because that is bygone, okay? Nobody really cares about it anymore. It's already been done. The casual market, they're only there for a second because it was really cool. It was in the news and everybody had to have one. Okay, when you throw things into media constantly, yeah, everybody's gonna fucking jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The bandwagon has come and went. So you're late to the fucking party, and you really shouldn't have arrived anyway because you were doing just fine without arriving. An overabundance of
Well, the Wii
accessories
is
and
still
peripherals
cool to have, though.
absolutely no
Yeah.
use
Oh, yeah.
outside of one or two
I
games.
mean, I'm glad I own the Wii along with, because...
Well, like he was saying, some of the stuff he says,
Yeah, I agree.
like you were saying to
Yeah.
me, is that we would agree with some stuff and other stuff we wouldn't.
And there's nothing wrong with
There's nothing
liking
wrong
the
with
old
that.
game
There's nothing.
engines. And I'm not saying that you wouldn't
Well,
like
they
the
shouldn't
newer
be
ones.
abolished just because...
Yes, I agree with that. I think your problem is they need to bring out new games with old game engines, like Catherine. Catherine's a new game with old school game engines. That's really popular because it's appealing to the old game engine genre class with good new graphics.
And like we
They
were
should bring
discussing
out more
earlier,
stuff
that
like
they should have a setting where you can switch back and forth.
Yeah, that was a great idea you
Yeah,
had
we
too.
were a great idea.
That was
we
a
all
great
agreed
idea.
upon all that. That would be a great idea.
But like playing Fallout 3, it's a new game engine for me. I mean, it's still first-person shooter, whatever, but the actual gameplay is so bloody complicated. It's practically a new game engine, and I was scared of it. I didn't know. Ron will tell you, I sat there for 2 days looking at it, going, I don't know. I'm just gonna start it over, and if I can't get the hang of it.
But as
you
far
know.
as far as the Wii goes, I think that it's good owning the original New Age thing. The Wii's concept with the sensor bar and
Oh,
being
yeah.
able to use it
Oh,
within
well,
the gaming system was great. And like he's saying, how Xbox came out with the Kinect, I think that
To
was
compete.
kind of stupid.
yeah.
that, you know, if they wanted to come up with something better, they should have waited until their new console
Their
came
new
out
console, yeah.
with something
Well,
that was
the
more like
only
a
reason
power,
they did
new
it
age
was to
power
jack
glove or
up the
something.
price of the
Well,
360 again.
The thing that
Because they
upsets
made
me,
it the bundle pack to where people would have to fucking buy the system again.
No, that's not it either, because the bundle pack is cheaper now than what we bought our.
It's still it's $250 for the bundle.
Yeah, but that's still cheaper than the original.
Yeah, we
300.
bought $300
Yeah.
for that.
And that was after it had already been out for 4 years, so it is.
It was right
cheaper.
before they released the
But
Kinect.
the thing that upsets me about the whole Kinect trying to compete with the Wii is, so you've got the Kinect for the 360 now instead of waiting to come out with a new model of the 360 or whatever. So now you've got all these games being released for the 360 that you can only play if you have the Kinect, and that's not fair. If they're going to come out with those games for the 360, then they should have the option of playing it with Kinect or playing it with your original controller. You know?
Like the Wii does.
Yes. And another thing about the Wii with these, you know, first-person shooter games that I have to admit is the targeting system's a lot better. I mean, Resident Evil 4 I played on the 360 and the Wii.
It had the best mock of
I
it.
could make shots on the Wii that I can't.
See, it wasn't PlayStation, or they released Resident Evil 4 exclusively on the Wii?
No, exclusively RE4 was on the GameCube as a 2-discer.
That's right, you got both of them.
Yep. And then it was released for the PS2 as well as the Wii.
And then 360 came out later on.
And I'm sure that the first-person games the 360 has for the Kinect are awesome because any kind of automatic manual.
I don't know, some of them look pretty cheesy.
Well, no, I'm saying the ones that I would prefer, not the cheesy ones, but the ones, you know, thinking about how the
Well, as
control
this
works.
engine goes,
Why do
though,
we need half this
Nintendo
shit to
does
be
it the
cluttering up
best.
the shelves? And on top of that, whenever you take something like the Wii Fit Balance Board, or you have something that's like, it's a helmet, you put the Wii remote on it. Yeah, that's all fucking cute and everything, but I'm sorry, how fucking often are you going to use it? I mean, go into a fucking game store and tell me how many things of, like, fucking Guitar Hero guitars that you see just scattered about everywhere. Okay, there's hundreds of them. So much that they don't even know what to do with half of them. I can imagine under good
Actually, I can't even find on one GameStop.
Not ones with
not even on their
portables.
website. You can't find guitars.
Oh, speaking of guitars, do you guys want to make a trade?
Huh.
Do you still have those Nintendo 64 controllers?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Would you be willing to trade them for the other guitar?
Let me look for them.
But that's something about the 360 I prefer with the guitars is the guitar is the guitar. All you have to do is make sure it's got batteries.
Yeah, and it's wireless. Is
with the Wii one, you have to put
plug
the controller into it and hook it up.
Wiimote in.
I hate that.
I can understand if they just came out with a universal guitar
Why
instead
not?
of coming out with every single. I think what his is every time they release a Guitar Hero, a new guitar has to be out with it.
Yeah.
A new version of it. Why don't they just use regular guitar? You know, a universal one.
For Guitar Hero, what, for the Wii or
For like one for the Xbox, one's for the Wii, one's for.
Oh, for the systems.
For the
yeah, 'cause
systems
I was going to
instead
say
of for every single. I think that's what his complaint
a
is.
universal remote for
No,
all the
yeah,
systems.
instead of, but the thing is most of them do work for all the games, but they
all the games for the same system.
Yes, most of them do, but
Well,
he's saying that they continue releasing a whole bunch of different versions of a guitar when they only need one.
No, I don't see him doing. The only new ones out are the ones with Pro mode.
Every time a Guitar Hero or Rock Band came out with a special guitar.
Did it?
Yeah. Van Halen's did, Aerosmith's did.
Yeah, but
and
still, all the guitars work with all the
I know,
same
but
games, so
they should have just.
You don't really need to go out
They
and buy
I know,
all
but they
this-
should have just released the game and had a whole bunch of regular universal guitars there instead of coming out with a special one for a special game. That way you have to spend $150 for the game.
Well, you don't need the special guitar to play the special edition.
I know that, but that's what I think his
You can
complaint
use
is.
any guitar to play the special edition.
I know.
It's just if you really want the special edition guitar, you can fork out the extra money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I think that's what I'm trying to get out of his complaint about it.
A recycling tank just for those fucking things in general, just because they're taking up space. Hell, I've gone to thrift stores and seen piles of them. And I'm talking from
Really?
like
Send them over
Rock
here.
Band 3 and the newest Guitar Hero. Piles of those instruments just laying there in a thrift store. People donated them because they couldn't get rid of them. That should fucking say something.
Not around
Game
here.
developers scrapping innovative...
He must be in a different state
He must be
altogether.
in a big city like
Yeah, because
California
I mean,
or
there's
something
nothing
like that. There's
in
nothing here.
between Oregon and Seattle.
No, I know, but on GameStop's website,
Yeah.
they don't have any available.
I mean, at GameStop, you'll see the set out and up, but that'll be the store model.
Yeah, they're the
and
display.
they won't sell you it.
No.
Because I went in there and asked them, they don't have one
Nope.
unless you buy.
And you have to order it or whatever.
If they come out with a new one.
If they come out, yeah.
And that's only for a limited time, and it's like, okay.
Good luck getting it when it comes out because they're gone. Because there's no excess amount
We're
of
just too
guitars
small of a
around
city.
here.
We don't have a.
No, it's just that everyone
Ideas that
around
are
here plays
daring and
guitar.
something that hasn't
Guitar
been
Hero
done
Rock
and
Band,
it's
so,
just a little too different.
everybody's
Oh wait,
sporting all
why
the
do something
guitars.
like that? Why test the waters? Why come out with something different when you know you could just release a first-person shooter and compete with the Call of Duty crowd and try to garner their cash because you always know they want to run around and shoot things in first-person perspective. Hooray! Yeah, that's what the fuck we need. Tons more fucking shooters, as if there isn't enough already. Why don't you try giving us a little more innovation? Or why don't you try actually bringing out something for the genres that haven't been getting a lot of fucking attention? Like platformers and survival horror. Yeah, that would be real fucking nice.
I love
Remember when PSN was hacked? It wasn't that fucking long ago. Well,
Okay,
there's a
he's
lot of fucking
eliminating
people.
every
And-
game genre. What does he like to play?
And I will say one series, and I do need
I
to
mean, the
get
only
back to
genre
it
he
because they
hasn't
did.
eliminated is fighting games, and there's a billion of fucking those too. But apparently, that's the only thing he likes. So that's the only thing they should keep making.
Well, he hasn't said that.
Right, it's the only game
Yeah, I
genre.
mean, he said survival horror, but the thing is
There aren't
survival
a lot
horror.
of
I know, but
survival
survival horror, you still need a gun
Yeah.
Yeah.
or something to shoot
Yeah,
at people.
exactly.
So how is that any different?
I do
from
like the
first-person
Silent
shooter?
Hill series, though. I do, and that's one I do need to go
Silent
back
Alan
and play
Wake.
again.
Alan Wake.
'cause-
But you still get a gun.
Yeah.
Alan Wake.
Yeah, because if you're going through
If
missions,
you're going through a
you're
game,
gonna have to have
and
equipment
the goal
and moving
is
stuff.
to get by people because you're being haunted by them or hunted or you're in trouble,
You
you
know.
need a weapon.
Well,
Even back to Nintendo, the only one that I didn't see, well, even
Side
Mario Brothers.
scrolls, unless it's
Even
a
no,
side
even Mario
scroll,
Brothers, you
it's
needed
gonna be
fire
a-
breathing, you know, you needed,
Firepower, yeah.
and you got the Hammer Brothers suit.
Yep.
You know, unless you get the P-wing, you want to fly around everywhere. But if you like,
Or
that
the
kind of
boot.
crap, that
Well,
still smashes
I mean,
people.
he complains
you
about
jump in
first-person shooter,
crush
but I
people.
think about it. Before you had first-person shooter, you were stuck with second and third, and hardly any second existed at all. And third-person, you remember how hard it was to make sure you were hitting something
I know,
or
but
in just the right
thing is
location.
Well, back then you still had Doom
Years-
and Wolfenstein and
Right.
all that, and those
And
were
that's a
first
first-person
person.
shooter.
Yeah.
That's a first-person shooter.
They
You
were
know?
just on PC
I mean,
and
I'm
not on
listening to him go
console.
off sarcastically
Console
about
wasn't
all these
doing-
game genres, and
And
I'm
he-
thinking
it's like,
he's
what does
eliminating
he
all
like?
of them. What's there left
I mean, all
to
those
play?
games up there, and he's saying he doesn't like
They're
any
probably
of
all
them.
fighting games because that's the only thing he's not complaining about. And fighting games are all the same.
I haven't forgotten. Hell, there's a lot of
And
people
racing
that are still
games.
pissed off about it.
But they're not
Like
all the
me.
same.
Yeah, I may not have said a whole lot about it, but that's because their
We
fucking
need more
story
good
changed
racing
every
games.
single fucking day as to, according
They
to
need to
saying,
start doing,
hey, this is what happened. No, we think that might have
burnouts
been
the way
this.
they
Well,
used
this
to.
is what
Yeah.
we're gonna do. Okay,
That
yeah, we
last
might not
one
be doing that.
sucked.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, it was an ever-changing story. No matter what fucking video I was going to record, I'd have to record like 15 of them in a fucking row to be able to keep up with the amount of fucking bullshit that was just spewing from their mouths. Oh, and then the fucking people that were actually affected in a really long-term way because their information was just scattered about, and all of a sudden they see charges coming up on their accounts and their bank accounts going into the negative. Whoops. Games increased from the traditional $50 to $60.
Traditional
No,
30, 40.
I'm sorry. $50 was already a lot for people to say, I don't know if I want to cough up that much for a game because,
Yeah.
I mean, just buying 2 brand new games is $100. Now it's like 2 brand new games, that's $120.
I hated the fluctuation with the price of the NES
Well, that's
games
why
back
for my
in the
birthday
day.
I got the whole one new game, and the rest were all
Well, the
used.
thing is he's looking at it from a gamer's point of view, not from an economist's point of view either. Or anything like that.
Well, because I remember back in the
inflation.
day still paying $80
Yeah.
for Nintendo games.
Standard price of the game
Standard
is
price
gonna
of
go
the
up
game is
with
about that
inflation.
price range
Yeah.
between $50 and $80.
Yeah.
No matter what time period you were in. But you also got to look at, if you're used to the $50 range, inflation.
Yeah.
The dollar's value has gone down, so you're going to pay more for
Yeah.
price of goods. Gas prices aren't cheap. Over $4 a gallon.
I mean,
for
but I totally
crap.
100% agreed with him about the whole new game comes out and the moment you stick it in your console, there's already download content available. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Some of that download content's retarded to get anyways. If you want...
Oh, well, I'm talking about not Avatar stuff or extra equipment and things like that. Extra
equipment that is going to help you breeze through the great game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to pay
exactly.
extra
but
for that.
Maps, story-related
packs, yeah.
stuff.
Or like different
Well, like
more levels.
Outfit.
No, even outfit stuff. That if you can't accumulate it in the game and it's still not good enough for you, then yeah, you're gonna have to pay the extra for it. Like Red Dead Redemption. The game itself that you got for the money was fantastic, but I wanted zombie mode and I wanted the special horse. So, bonus stuff like that that's not available to unlock in the normal game, I can understand. But like my biggest complaint, Gears of War. Was it 2 that had Dom's story? Yeah. A whole separate storyline, separate mission. That should have gone with the game, but you can only get it.
We don't know if that was released afterwards, if it was something that they were still developing and couldn't get on in time.
No, because it came out at
we don't know. We got it way after it was released.
The best way to tell is to see how big the download was.
But you gotta also remember, I mean, if the game's something, okay, Darkness 2, little short.
Yeah.
If there's extra download content,
it should have already been.
Should have been on there to extend the game's play,
yeah.
because the gameplay was so short. Just like the DBZs,
well, the story
they're so short.
Was short.
And if
had
they have
the
extra download content later,
they
shouldn't have brought it out until they added to it, because you gotta calculate your gameplay game time.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about RE5. That it did feel too short. And the 2 levels that they had with it were already on the disc, which meant they shouldn't have charged people for them.
But I definitely
it makes
agree with the whole...
What 2 levels?
The Nightmare and the Mansion.
Yeah, we did those.
Okay, did those. But if they come out with it free, or if it's really cheap...
Yeah, it should be free, like Half-Life did.
Yeah.
Orange Box did with Half-Life.
Orange Box did a pretty good job.
That was perfect.
They always came
if it's
out
an
free
extension
with
to the game, if it's extra download content, it should be free. Seriously, if you bought the
game... Or
game,
really cheap, like
but
a
I
buck
think
or
what
2.
they started thinking was, well, some of these people didn't actually buy the game. They're just borrowing it or renting it, so they're getting the download for free, so we got to make our money somehow.
That's why you should have a special code. Like, they come out with some of those where you buy it and it comes with the season pass.
Well,
Dead Space came with that season
no,
pass. That way if
how's
there was any
this?
download content, it was
Things
free.
like that. What they should be able to do is, instead of making you purchase the download content, you have to run it directly off online.
No, that season
you
pass.
can't download it on your hard drive, but if you're online, you can play the extra content.
If the game's registered, you know?
That's what I was saying. That season pass registers the game, saying that you were the one that bought it.
Bought the game. Yeah, that was a good idea. Gears of War 3 made up for what Gears of War 2.
And that's why when you bought it, you came with the season pass, and every download that came out.
But there's
free.
already a way to do that.
What? Season passes? You can download.
Well, no, make it prove that you're the one who bought the game, because each disc has an individual code.
I know, but they're talking about if you
Uninstall it from your hard drive.
Rent the game or whatever. If you rent the
install.
game or if you're buying it pre-owned, they don't want to give the content for free. And which that's why I was saying is those season pass things is
It's
the
a good
inserts
idea.
that you get in the game
When you
where
originally
download extra
purchase,
content.
and they should have that for every game, basically.
That way the person that buys it gets it.
It's a code that says you're the one who originally purchased this game. You activate the code, and so even if you go to resell the game or let someone else borrow it, you've activated that code. It'll never be able to be reactivated on anyone else's console, so only you can download the content for that game
Extra content
for free. Anyone
Everybody else has to
if,
pay.
you know, it's like, okay, for my birthday I bought 1 new game and 3 used games. Well, the new game I'd get the pass for, so any download content that ever became available for it, I could get it all for free. But the 3 other games that I got that were used, any download content, I'd have to buy it myself. And that would be fair, but they don't do that.
No, they do sometimes.
Sometimes.
Depending on the game.
Like I said, Gears of War 3 made up for what 2 did.
No, I don't want to do this one.
Jerry!
Only reason I was going to do that one was because that was the 11th guy she had tested to see if it was her kid.
Oh my god, you know who that is? Oh my god, you know who that sounds like?
Kayla. And the guy was even saying, there's going to be a 12th, 13th, 14th.
Kayla had 10 guys tested before she finally found out that the father of her child was her husband. The last person she suspected, because she had 10 other guys tested before she had her husband checked.
So it just went in one big circle.
Well, that basically said that she was sure she'd slept with all those other guys way more than she'd slept with her husband. You know.
Alright.
And then my brother married the bitch.
I got a job at the local Walmart. Walmart? Yeah, you know their motto. Wherever you walk, there's a Walmart.
I know who those mom and pop killing corporate bastards are. How dare you work there? You are the enemy. You must die.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Relax. It's just part-time on the weekends so I can make some spending money.
What do you need money for?
Stuff.
Like?
Things.
Yeah. Things are important.
You know, just so I have some extra cash on hand. Just because I'm living for free at my grandfather's house doesn't mean I have some sort of trust fund set up.
So you're
I gotta make some sort of money.
You should try porn.
Ew, don't be a dick.
You know, alternate dimensions remain would have thought it over as a viable alternative source of income.
Yeah, well, theoretical science fiction doppelgangers aside, I'm not doing porn.
Damn it. I'm never gonna get my logic enforcing robots finished.
Yeah, whatever. You want me to pick up some cream cheese at work? I get a 30% discount.
I don't want your corporate cream cheese of evil. You're gonna buy cream cheese from the independent grocery store down the block at double the price, like we always do.
But I don't want to pay double.
Don't care. I'm not gonna screw a hometown business out of money just to save a few bucks.
Hometown? You fucking hate Connecticut.
Yes, I do. But regardless of my location, I'd rather support local indie shops than some soul-devouring corporate hobgoblins. So, since I'm in Connecticut, I'm reluctantly supporting it in all its boring glory. Damn. Even saying the word Connecticut makes me sleepy. Connecticut. 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 Oh, excuse me. I'm getting tired.
Are we done here?
Yep. It's sleepy time.
Sleepy time? It's 9:30 in the morning.
That's like midnight in Connecticut.
Fuck you. I'm going to work. Wherever you walk, there's a Walmart. Wherever you walk, there's a Walmart.
Save.
I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself. I gotta get out of here.
Calm down. Now get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Don't you want to fall? Everything's gonna fall.
I think the best part of that whole movie is when the stewardess goes to talk to the black guys on the plane and they're speaking, you know, jive, like real ghetto nigger. And Betty White's sitting in the next...
No, that's Mrs. Beaver.
Oh, right. And she's like, oh, excuse me, I can help. I speak jive. And she just goes through the whole black lingo, and I'm just the best part of the movie.
Oh, by the way, I seen the new Ghost Rider.
I thought you said you seen the commercial. Wait, no, you watched the new Ghost Rider, but you saw the Man in Black.
The
Preview
3D
in 3D
trailer.
for this.
So how was the new Ghost Rider?
The best part of the movie was the 3D Men in Black trailer.
What do you say we cut a chit-chat? Hey-ho, what's in the bag? A shark or something? Maybe I shouldn't breathe so much, Terry. Look, cop car. As long as I'm in here, you're just gonna sit up there, aren't you? He's good at getting his ass kicked. He should call himself Ass Kick instead. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in a box? I mean, what happens if you start screaming at that jungle? He probably has servants and bodyguards, and believe me, they will drag you! Oh, sweet.
Yeah, this is better than the new Ghost Rider movie. It felt like a made-for-TV movie.
PC.
Did you get all your stuff? How do you burn?
Marvel and DC merged.
Nicolas Cage didn't even do good crazy. And he can do good crazy.
That might be the director.
Yeah. Directors really got pulled out of the actor sometimes.
Because you never know if he did crazy and then the actor goes, cut! I need you not to do that. This is the way I want you to do it.
I've seen some scene takes that were way better than the ones put in the film. Thinking, why the hell did they cut that? Mm-hmm.
One of the people funding
That's
it
where
said,
it's up to the producer to override the director. He
what happens
had,
if the producer was
Someone who didn't care.
yeah.
Our morals
Well, the producer
override
should
your...
care more than the director. In fact, all the credit that most people give the director, the producer should get. They don't realize that it's the producer who makes the movie. The director just tells the cameraman where to shoot and when to stop shooting. And tells the actor, I want more of this or less of that. I mean, it is their vision too. It's
Great gag!
their job to get it out of paper.
Where is she? Princess? Didn't I kill the last guy that called me that? He should have known! I'm the only joker around here!
Someone had superimposed Scorpion over the Dark Knight, right? Yeah. No, I recognize this from Arkham Asylum.
Oops! Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's new Marvel vs. DC.
Is it? So which one is Scorpion? He's not Marvel or DC.
No,
Capcom.
DC versus Mortal Kombat.
Ah.
Why are we promoting another podcast on our podcast?
Because that's what we do.
Dang it, man.
We're the second best damn podcast.
Yes!
No, we're the turds of the podcast.
No, we bring you the next
The mid-1990s was a crucial turning point for the gaming industry. As game companies began to realize
We
that
don't know
this
where we're
would
going.
revolutionize the industry, large hardware companies like Nintendo, Sega, and Sony scrambled to stay competitive. With Sony's PlayStation console looming on the horizon, Sega abandoned its fabled Sega CD attachment for the Genesis for an entirely new game console, the Sega Saturn.
For chunk.
Released in Japan on November 22nd, 1994, and later in the
Well,
US
that
in
was The
early
Simpsons.
1995, The Sega Saturn was the first mainstream disc-based game console. Even though it was released several months before the PlayStation in the US, a $300 price point, weak launch games, and poor marketing all but doomed the Saturn in the US. While the Saturn did find a better audience in Japan, by 1997 Sega sales were hurting. Something had to be done quickly, or the PlayStation would shut out Sega in Japan as well. So the Sega marketing department came up with one of the most ridiculous yet ingenious ideas ever seen in the gaming industry. Sega to Sanshiro.
What do Nintendo 64 controllers look like?
They are big and black and bulky. They're not like 360 controllers.
Sega to Sanshiro is a fictional character and master of all forms of martial
the
arts.
two
His
things
name
that
is a
go like
parody of
this, and then the kind of
Sanshiro,
banana
a legendary
shape
judo
and
fighter
okay.
filmed by a
Alright, I
His name
remember
sounds
that.
similar to the phrase Sega Saturn Shiro, which roughly translates to, "You must play Sega Saturn."
Just do it!
Not in this
one. You know, I can understand why Nike's motto was just do it now. Japanese. You must play, just do it. Weaknesses not to
So the Japanese are telling everybody
The
to get off
commercials
their
featuring
feet.
Sega to Sanshiro beating up those who neglected their duties of the Sega Saturn became wildly popular in Japan. Sega went on to produce 24 Saturn commercials featuring the character.
But it's all because it's marketing. First thing in marketing, convince what everyone who has is cool. Second thing, convince everyone who thinks it's cool that if they don't do it, they won't be cool. Hence, keeping up with the Joneses.
That would kind of suck, though, having someone beat you up for not playing that console, because it would kind of suck.
No, what would suck is getting beat up for not being good at the games, because they all sucked. You played it, that's alright.
Alright.
Is it in the other box in the back room or one of the
Well,
doors?
yeah, probably.
There's only 2 other spots.
I know. I just figured I was right here doing the show. I didn't want to run out into another room looking.
Through everything in the middle of
Skip this.
Yeah, it's pretty good for visual, but the audio's not so good, huh?
There's plenty of real things to be scared of, like Super AIDS.
Super AIDS?
That's right. A new form of AIDS which is resistant to drugs. Just 1 teaspoon of Super AIDS in your butt and you're dead in 3 years.
3 years, huh?
So now you feel better?
That's more than you
Ghosts
get
don't
with
exist and
Ebola.
there's nothing to be afraid of.
Or
Except for
swine
Super
flu,
AIDS.
or lots of different things, some forms of cancer.
Or that lamb disease.
I mean, shit, I'd rather have AIDS than cancer.
Skip.
Well, have a man play.
I love the Joker.
That's not funny. That's not.
Was that Robin killing the Joker? Robin who was abducted and brainwashed.
Seriously, Weed, if it wasn't for you, I'd never learn how many desserts I could fit into one bowl. The answer is 5 in a burrito.
Is this a different one or the same
Hey,
one?
meth's also here. You know what the cool thing about meth is? That you can make it anywhere, except
Oh,
in
right,
a nice
that's
neighborhood
right.
with
The other
good
one
schools.
was,
Let's not be too hard on meth. He's the only drug who's aged 5 years since we cut away from him.
television corporate logos.
Oh, Jesus. Even I couldn't make that look good. Well, guys, it's been a blast, and I look forward to seeing you all again at Andy Dick's Christmas party.
Weed, you pathetic excuse for a drug. Seriously, your users have less balls then steroids. Let's see who else we got. Oh, Adderall. Is that you? Adderall, buddy. I haven't seen you since college. Everybody, Adderall. The only drug that makes you stay up all night so you can't have fun. Yeah. And don't be, how the hell did you hear about this? Telegram? And look, Shrooms is here. Kind of. Hey, Ecstasy, give him a poke. Make sure he's still alive. Oh, not a full body cavity search. Jesus. My God, somebody toss that kid a glow stick or something. Seriously, I don't know what we'd do without you. Besides move out of our parents' basement. Next time, don't call it a flashback. Straight from the pocket of your uncle's denim jacket, it's LSD.
The funny thing about weed is there's always a giant spider demon standing 3 feet behind him. This next joke is just for the spiders under my skin.
Oh, all right, okay, moving on. Next up, he might not be the most popular drug here tonight, but he has the best celebrity endorsements. Give it up for cocaine!
Hey, yeah, I'm here. Just had to use the bathroom real quick. Peyote came all the way from Mexico to be here. He said the trip was really uncomfortable because he had a condom full of me stuffed up his ass. Weed, you make Tim and Eric funny. Frozen pizza tastes good and fish sound like music. Is there anything you can't do besides get a job? Weed, you may have a TV show, and meth, you may have a good TV show, but I had a whole decade. She don't lie. She don't lie.
70s.
Derek Clapton.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Heroin.
When did you get out of jail?
Weed's here. Weed's so great, I bet he'd lend me $500. Meth's here. Meth's so great, I bet he'd lend me $500.
Are you wearing a wire?
Everybody freeze! I didn't do anything wrong. Look, everyone here is over 21, except for Whitman. But he had a really good fake.
Shut up. You, Tobacco, and Ambien can leave.
Oh, thank God.
Now, as for the rest of you, you're all going away for a long, long...
Oh, here goes alcohol again. Oopsie.
Is that their way of saying that all those drugs are safer than alcohol?
Oh, that's their way of saying that even though alcohol is legal, it's just as bad as the others.
And we did nothing but sit on a couch.
He did nothing wrong. He just sat there and took it all the abuse.
No.
Keep that clip. You did keep that one clip, right? Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to send that to Texas.
Alright, well, we got about 5 minutes left.
5 minutes to do our sign-off. Well, let's see. We used to do word for the day, but after so many years of never being able to think of a word.
You want to know what a word is?
Bird.
No. It's called spelunking.
Splunking?
Yes.
Alright, does anyone but me know what spelunking is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? Tom, what's spelunking?
You go down into caves or desolate areas.
Cavities inside.
Caverns.
What's the difference between a spelunker and a cave explorer? There is a difference.
This cave explorer goes into caves that
They're not all wired
don't have
down.
to,
Well,
that aren't like dangerous. You just go into a cave exploring.
no. Well, like, I was going to say, the thing about spelunking, and I got in trouble about this one time.
Spelunking is basically where...
It's non-professional. It's amateur.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Actually, no, it's not, Coy. Spelunking has taken over cave
exploring.
Because cave explorers go in after the spelunkers have dug a route for
Well,
cave.
that was my argument, that the spelunkers were the original discoverers, but the cave explorers say that the spelunkers don't do half the shit, get in half the dangerous situations, they don't map out the area, they don't...
Depending on what kind of a spelunker you are. If you're just doing it just to do it for the rush of it...
there's a cave, let's go.
Yeah, if you're
check
doing
it
it for
out.
the rush of it, that's one thing, but actually a lot of the spelunkers that I've researched are spelunkers
Professional
slash cave explorers.
Professional
But
explorers.
basically, they call themselves spelunkers.
Yeah, see, I didn't think there was any difference, but I got into it with someone that.
The reason why is that person was probably a cave person, explorer. And they were like,
cave person.
It's called caveman.
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka.
You can't call it caveman.
Why is that racist?
The feminist will rise up and say,
Cave
person!
Cave dweller, how's that?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, cavemen
No, wait,
were
dwelling,
just hit.
dwelling means you live there.
Yeah,
so.
cave explorer.
Oh, fucking Morlocks.
Well, anyways, that's what type of person you were probably talking to.
Probably,
is
yeah.
Person that didn't really research that a lot of spelunkers actually work with a person that's a scientist or a person that's
Well, because when I grew up, I
surveying a
just
geological.
thought spelunkers was a fancy British term for, cave explorer. But
Depending on
apparently there's difference.
well, like in that one movie, The Cave or whatever.
Yeah.
They were spelunkers. They did it for the sake of
going down
into the cave. They didn't really want to explore. They just
didn't
once they got
map
down
out
there, they
the
couldn't
area.
get back up. Or what was that one that?
Was it
Where they went down and then they started seeing stuff and.
Were there monsters or
Yeah, there
not?
were monsters down there that eat people.
Cannibals.
Yeah.
Alright, what's our topic?
Where the fuck was this? Like,
It's a movie.
New York?
No, it was a movie.
Oh.
Oh yeah, the cave.
And then you had the other one called The Cave, which they were professional spelunker / cave explorers.
Yeah, that were mapping it
that
out.
were mapping out. They didn't just do spelunking, but
And they left lines for people in
Wasn't
the
that
future to
spelunking
be
that
able
they
to-
did in The Descent?
Yes.
that's the movie. It was spelunking. Then they found something down there, and they got hurt. I think
got
it was.
stuck down there,
They
yeah.
got stuck down there.
Wasn't that the place that, like, ate them, though?
So what do you call the people that do the scuba diving and explore the caves in the oceans? Because
Scuba diver explorers.
No, because that's cave exploring. It's not just scuba diving. It's way more dangerous. Than
Cavern explorers.
Cavern, yeah. That's got to have a specific job title too.
Well, it probably does, but the thing is,
Well, real cavern explorers are prepared to go underwater because they
cave explorers cannot just go, you know what? Oh, I see a cave way down there. I'm going to go down there. No, they have to hire persons that can get them down there if they don't know how to do it. And usually the cave explorers can't go down into those anyways. The spelunker has to do all the mapping
Someone
for
to
them
do it.
because they know what they're doing when they're going down there. It's like,
Alright, I'm putting my life on the line. I'll be right back.
well, like down, or not down, but either down
when you
or
do
up
cliff-
in the Arctic,
yeah.
or down, Antarctica or the North Pole, in those areas where they have a whole bunch of caverns. They even say it. You have to have
Oh,
a
the ice
spelunking.
caverns,
You have
yeah.
a spelunking level, expert level, or whatever to get
Well-
down in certain grades.
Well, because of the crevices in between. The
So you
ice
can't say,
cracks.
"Well, I'm a cave explorer, but I don't know how to spelunk whatsoever."
So I think the
Okay,
difference.
so-
So I think a cave explorer is someone who doesn't necessarily have to have equipment, but a spelunker is someone who knows how to set up rigs, safety lines.
A spelunker does it all.
Yeah, that's what I.
So
then you
those
have extreme
people-
sportsmen that are spelunkers that just do it for the rush. Those are adrenaline junkies.
Oh,
that
they
are-
look for hear about places that are really hard to do and what is it?
Just do it for the rush and then they go back.
I'm gonna ski the K9. Or
Which actually, there should have been a
K10.
clip I should have grabbed. There's this guy that was doing the, it's hang gliding, but it's body, used the body
Oh, the
things.
body webbing suit.
Yeah.
So you look
And
like
he'd
a
jump
squirrel?
off mountains
Monkey
and
bat.
he'd do this thing, and he got, he got too close to one mountain.
Hit, rolled.
Well, he hit the mountain pretty hard. It didn't really show what happened.
Well, yeah,
afterwards.
once you
just
hit
heard
the
a lot of
mountain.
cursing
Well, that-
from the cave, or not the cave guy, but the
Camera guy.
cameraman.
Well, that's the thing about those body gliding suits is if you don't have the right muscle tone or you have to move one arm suddenly or a leg suddenly, you're fucked because there goes your rigging basically.
Dude, somebody needs to have
Those
one
are
of
people that do it
those.
for. It's the difference between people that do
Adrenaline
it for
junkie.
adrenaline and
Exploration.
exploration.
Yeah. Alright. Well,
Someone needs to have one of
And that
those
cave
where they look
explorer
like
was just
Batman.
being a little too touchy and sensitive.
it was my grandmother.
Oh, yeah, see, dinosaur. She's already making oil down in there.
No, she's not. She was cremated.
Just that much closer to becoming oil because it's already burnt out.
No, you can't. There's no body liquefaction to become oil anymore.
Actually, if you mixed it with...
You'd have to mix it with something else, but that's something else.
It'd have to come out of the urn and into the ground. And
yeah, well, it's still...
But it's already... It's just like a...
Anyway.
18 or 19. I can't tell.
18 or 19 what?
Seconds.
Okay, we got
10 seconds.
less than a minute now.
Less than a minute?
Yeah. So we'll sign off after our word of the day.
Oh,
Spelunking. Yeah, that was our word, right? There you go.
So those people in Piranha, they were spelunkers.
What, in the water?
Yeah, the ones that got
Well,
eaten.
technically, yes, they were underwater cave explorers. But underwater cave exploring, you need a whole different degree for than normal cave exploring because there's the whole drowning factor.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks.
Later.